Welcome everybody. I've got some awesome buffs and changes for Ampharos and Mega Ampharos, especially Mega Ampharos. But before I get into any of these buffs and changes, I do want to have a quick little disclaimer for any new viewers to check out that Google Sheet linked right down below in the description. As you can see on screen, it details all the Pokemon buffs and changes in the hack. Most importantly, if you look on the screen right now and you see all these tabs right here on the bottom, it says search all moves here. You can check out all of the move buffs and changes in the hack, of which there are over 600. I'm not exaggerating, there's a lot, okay? I've pretty much reworked every single move in the game. There are also 130 quote-unquote new moves, so you can check all those out with their new effects. They're all hot linked right here in these different categories. You know, it's super useful to abuse this move sheet. Take advantage of it. Took me a lot of time and effort to make. So yeah, I highly recommend you give that a look, because this is not your average run-of-the-mill ROM hack. I've heavily buffed and reworked every single Pokemon with all these new moves and abilities and stats and all that bunch of quality of life stuff and all this other fun stuff. But with that being said, Ampharos has some really fitting abilities in Lightning Rod and Dazzling as the pre-mega abilities. I don't see the only situation where it's ever okay to make Ampharos a part Dragon type, in my opinion, is if you're doing a Gen 1 to 5 ROM hack before Megas exist. Then it's like, all right, I get the vibe you're going for. It doesn't make much sense, but it's like, who cares, you know? It's whatever. But come on. Electric Dragon on base Ampharos with Mega Ampharos right there is really silly. Ampharos, the only other type that really would fit would be Fairy, which would have a little bit of overlap, although in this case, technically, there isn't a Lightning Rod. I don't know, I just think Pure Electric is the most fitting for Ampharos, and there aren't too many Pure Electric types in the hack anyways, so this is fine. Dazzling is very useful in this hack, especially because First Impression is one of the most common priority moves in the game, and being completely immune to that is awesome because counterplay to that move is pretty limited. You know, it's part of the challenge of the hack. Obviously, there's tons of other challenging aspects to it, but you know, you can't use Protect on that move anymore, and it always crits, so you can't intimidate it or stat drop the user of it, so you mostly just need to find something that can actually answer the move and switch in on it and kill it back, or you know, pivot out or whatever it may be, which isn't that hard to do. But my point is, having Dazzling for that alone is nice. Priority moves on the AI are not as common, despite the fact that literally every single Pokemon in the game gets the priority move of at least one kind. For example, in this case, you have Priority Shockwave, which is 55 base power, as well as Spark, both of which are really nice to have. But like, what am I trying to say here? Priority moves, despite being extremely common in this hack, are not that great on the AI because they typically go off how strong the move is, so they'll only ever use a weaker priority move if you're very low HP. For example, if they have both, I don't know, Acrobatics and Aerial Ace, which is now a priority move, versus your, you know, Heracross or whatever, and you're full HP and Aerial Ace with one shot, they'll still click Acrobatics even if you're faster than them, just because of the way the AI works. So it's a bit of a shame, but I can still make it so the AI uses priority moves. For example, if they're Technician boosted, I can have those be their only attacking moves, then they only have to choose between low base power moves. But, you know, in most cases, the main use of Dazzling is First Impression, because also stuff like Sucker Punch, despite being higher base power, is limited because it's very easy to cheese with AI. You can just use status moves and PP stall it and get free, you know, status moves going. So, yeah. Main use is just First Impression, which is good enough. And then once you Mega Evolve, you get Fluffy on Mega Ampharos. No, I did not give Fluffy to the pre-evolutions, mainly because it would make them objectively better than Ampharos. For example, a Violet Fluffy with Fluffy is just way better than Ampharos, and I don't want that. I don't see them as like an Eviolite option. I think they should just be a Mid-Evo, like a genuine one, not like an Eviolite Pokemon. So that's the main reason. They would just be way too good for that point in the game, honestly. Not that obviously Fluffy makes a lot of sense, so I'm not trying to say it doesn't, but that's why I gave them Unaware, because I don't like Dazzling on them. First of all, just logic-wise, it feels kind of weird, and then also because what's it called? Dazzling has is very overpowered on early game, because most Pokemon, their only attacking moves for the first, you know, island, like a lot of their attacking moves are priority. Obviously, especially for the first couple levels, it would just be a little bit too strong early game as well. So I figured just give them Unaware. It's whatever. It's actually what Ampharos had previously, so this is good. Lightning Rod is very good ability on all three. What you can do is you can use Lightning Rod, switch in, get that free special attack boost, get that immunity. So despite the fact that you're bulky and you resist electric, right, it's still nice to have an immunity ability in a hack like this. For example, you know, a 150 base power Zap Cannon or Electro Outburst, or sorry, Electro Assault or Zap Cannon, you know, is still going to deal 1,000,000 damage, especially under electric terrain, which is a pretty common thing in this hack, not only via TM, which I'll get into in a second, but also just by the fact that there are about a dozen or so electric surge Pokemon in this hack. You know, an electric surge boosted Zap Cannon is still going to fucking do over half the Ampharos, so like you're going to want to have that immunity. Immunity is still nice even if you're only taking 30% from a move. And then of course you do get that boost, and you can then Mega Evolve after and get Volt Rush. So typically I try to argue that all of the pre or non-Mega Evolution Pokemon in this hack are genuinely viable over their Mega counterparts in a lot of cases, specifically because of the type differences, the ability differences, and most importantly, the ability to hold an item that the Mega Evolutions of course cannot do. I would say Ampharos is probably the worst in comparison to its Mega counterpart in the hack, just by the nature of like the abilities that Ampharos has as opposed to the abilities that Mega Ampharos has and the typing. Not that it's bad. Base Ampharos is totally great. Like, you know, it's a tanky Pokemon. It can still run really good items like Assault Vest with Parabolic Charge, and you know, it's got good utility. That Dazzling immunity to first impression is super valuable in a hack like this as well. So I'm not trying to like undersell Ampharos as much as I'm just trying to say that. Keep in mind also, by the way, for example, if you're fighting like a fairy type boss or a dragon type boss, I mean, dragon type boss, you could theoretically use Volt Rush and outspeed them. But like specifically like a fairy type or ice type boss, like you wouldn't want Mega Ampharos for that fight in most cases, you know? So unless you want the Volt Rush to outspeed them and click like Flash Cannon or Aura Sphere or something. Speaking of, yes, Ampharos does get tons of great new coverage moves. So not only do you have absolute nuke of attacks like Electro Outburst and Zap Cannon under Electric Surge under Volt Rush under Electric Terrain. Volt Rush on Mega Ampharos is incredibly fast. You don't have to worry about Choice Scarfers in this hack because Choice Scarfer is not a good item to give to AI. So, hypothetically speaking, say you have a neutral speed, nature, and 15 speed IVs. With max speed and investment, you're hitting 386 speed, which is outspeeding base 120. Even, let me actually check. I believe it's outspeeding base 130 even. No, you're not outspeeding base 130. Yeah, I lied. But base 125. Yeah, you have to base 125 speed Pokemon with a plus speed nature and max speed investment, so that's really fast. You're not like outspeeding everything in the game, but you're outspeeding most things, and that's also, keep in mind, it's only if you had a bad or middling speed IV and neutral speed nature. So if you got lucky and got a plus speed nature, then you're outspeeding a lot more things. You're outspeeding pretty much everything in the game at that point. So that's super awesome for Volt Rush. Electric Surge and Electric Terrain are also buffed in the regard that Electric Terrain is a TM that you can teach at any time. So you can either set it up yourself on your Ampharos, or more, I would say the better option is to use an ally. A lot of Pokemon in this hack get that via TM. All electric types, a lot of steel types, and a lot of like psychic types and other random Pokemon get Electric Terrain via TM. So all you need to do is do Terrain Extender, Electric Terrain in conjunction with Parting Shot, Volt Switch, or U-Turn, which most Pokemon in this hack get at least one of those three moves. So you can switch into your Ampharos, or you can honestly just hard switch if you had to. And boom, now you've got, you know, the Volt Rush activated. So that's super fun. Like I said, Lightning Rod into Volt Rush is cool, and then Dazzling into Fluffy is really cool. Dazzling, you know, switching on a first impression, and you Mega Evolve and gain Fluffy, and now you're super, super tanky, which is why that's the reason for the defense drop on Mega Ampharos. I also just logically see a much higher special defense stat on this guy because of the whole like primal dragon energy they unlocked through Mega Evolution, and they're all like graceful with the gems and the beads and stuff. So that's all really cool. I should probably move Power Gem to like 35 in time for Guzma. Hold on. I'll do that after the video. Hopefully I don't forget. Because it's a bit situational until Guzma. You might use it for the first Guzma fight or two. But Meteor Shot is good for Olivia though. But yeah, they get tons of great coverage. So they have Aura Sphere, Psychic, Flamethrower. Obviously they have strong Dragon type stab moves. Flash Cannon is 110 base power. They've got Energy Ball. They've got, you know, Focus Blast. They got all types of fun options to choose from. On the physical side, you actually can abuse your decent physical attack stat with Belly Drum at 42, which is a very early Belly Drum. Most Pokemon get Belly Drum much later. So Belly Drum plus Spark is pretty good. Because that's a physical priority move. So you can use that. It's kind of funny. Physical Ampharos sounds cursed, but I think it's pretty cute. And then also Belly Drum, like Volt Rush could be a meme if you want. You do have reliable recovery in the form of Slack Off and Recharge. Slack Off just being good old Slack Off, while Recharge functions like charge, but it heals you by 1/3 HP instead of giving you a speed F boost, so that's super, super strong. Parabolic Charge is a staple. I would never delete that for the most part on Ampharos unless I really, really needed the other 4 moves for a specific strategy. But yeah, Parabolic Charge is great on them just because of how bulky they are and stuff. It's just a fun move. Power Glow or Calm Mind are both great under Volt Rush. Cotton Guard is also super great. Even without Volt Rush, you can use that with Fluffy, with, you know, reliable healing moves or Parabolic Charge. I did give them physical electric moves a lot earlier, like Volt Tackle, for example, 38, which is like really strong high base power, you know, move for that point in the game. so it makes up for the significantly weaker attack stat. Yeah, it's still a meme. Like, I'm not trying to say it's the best thing in the world, but because you do have access to infinite ability capsules and instant EV training items and all of these TMs and tutors, physical Ampharos for certain very niche situations could be a genuine option. Because this is not competitive 6v6 singles. I would allude it more to like draft league in the regard that you're countering all of the sets that the boss fights are using, kinda. So that's what I would do, personally. You also get like some good physical moves like Zing Zap, which gives you +1 speed. You also have Z Electrify plus Electro Ball, which essentially Z Electrify will give you +2 speed and then a +1 special attack if you're running Lightning Rod for free, because Electrify has no drawback. It just turns their move into electric type no matter what. So as long as they use an attacking move, then you're good to go. And now you can use Electro Ball, which gives you an additional +1 speed boost each time you click it, and you can kind of snowball from there if you want. So that's really fun for base Ampharos. That's another cool thing they can abuse. Again, base Ampharos with Assault Vest is bulkier, especially than Mega Ampharos. It doesn't have the weaknesses to Ice and Fairy and Dragon that Mega Ampharos does. So base Ampharos still has situational use over Mega Ampharos once you get the Mega Stone, but it's probably like one of the worst pre-Megas once you get the Mega in terms of the viability over the Mega Evolution, which isn't a big deal. It's whatever. Ampharos is still a solid Pokemon. Yeah, other good covers was like Dazzling Gleam and Radiant Edge and all types of other fun things. Shadow Ball. You can check out all these new moves in the description down below, but pretty self-explanatory, honestly. Electro Outburst is an absolute nuke. Power Glow gives +2 special attack. Zap Cannon is also a nuke, so that Electro Outburst for the late game is just like a crazy one. Mirror Coat is great for Ultra Necrozma and Totem Rabambi if you need it. Nuzzle is great utility that drops attack, special attack, and paralyzes. Thundershock always paralyzes. All types of little fun options you can abuse. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave the video off there. Pretty simple overall. I know that Unaware might be kind of weird on the pre-evolutions, but I hate static. I fucking despise that ability. I hate abilities. Like in competitive, they're pretty good because you can like switch in and check things, and eventually you'll get that status. But in game, like I would never ever want to run that. It's so blah. Fuck. I hate Flame Body and static for in-game use and Poison Point. I don't want any of those. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace, y'all.